Yo, what's up? What's happening? It's your girl Bree at Cryptic Tales of Tarot. Listen, I never forgot about you divine masculines. I had made a video for the divine feminines, a special. Well, the divine masculine, you're next. Oh, oh, great shit. I might become a fucking tech specialist one day. At least I'll try to. Let's see here. Choo choo. All right. Anyways, so I hope you guys are all having a great day, and if not, just remember that tomorrow is another day, and tomorrow is Friday. TGIF, right? And well, like I said, I know I've been dedicated to the video with the divine feminine, but also there's a lot of divine masculines out there who are going through emotional, mental focus experiences with twin flame journey. So guess what? You men out there, you finally get the limelight. I know, right? Isn't it awesome? Isn't it awesome? I feel like being obnoxious just because I can. Anyways, let's see here. Now we got the introduction out of the way. I did find an awesome website that had a mini journal to it. Okay. And the blog was called Love Twin Flame Diaries. Journal of a Divine Feminine Goddess in Spiritual Union with Twin Flame by Love Twin Flame Diaries. And the cool shit about it is that it was written based off of Hindu beliefs. You know what? Give me a second. Because I know, I have goddess cards out, but just give me a second. Alright, I know, men are like, that's what we always hear. Give me a second, give me a. Aren't you supposed to be ready for your video yet? You did not prepare well. Shut up. Hold on. Because it matches what's in here. Not that one. I know you in here somewhere. Saw you just the other day when I did a little reading on myself. Uh, you. Okay. So, hmm, here we go. Yeah, written by Hindu beliefs. Okay, and that the religion is asking for the divine feminines to be the stronger one in the relationship because she's the one who starts the journey of the spiritual awakening much earlier than the man does. And I hate to say it, but I mean, just women are always quicker to mature. US. So therefore, he needs her assistance in getting through the tough ass phases that they're going to be challenged with. In addition to this, the publisher even mentioned that there are many times when the divine masculines don't feel loved before entering the relationship. However, fear not, because the feminines are coming to the rescue, as we can see right through the bullshit, and can immediately have an inner knowing that the masculines have a lot of unhealed wounds, but they refuse to show it because it's not the macho man thing to do. With that being said, the collective must remember that there will be plenty of times where you both suffer mentally, emotionally, because the biggest parts of the twin flame journey entail healing past traumas. Okay. And part of the journey here, you have the runner chaser phases. Okay. And this is probably one of the most painful parts of the twin flame journey because 9 times out of 10, the female ends up getting ghosted. Just without explanation, no closure, no nothing. And then the masculine will come back into their life temporarily and then poof, they're gone again. And then the woman, she'll try to get into contact with him and try to figure out what the fuck just happened. And then the masculine will wait. I mean, it could be fucking weeks or a month or so before they respond. And usually it's a half ass answer because they don't know how to answer in a mature fashion. That is 8:18 on the timer. And this phase of the runner chaser shit, it can go on for years, and it gets irritating because it's like the masculine, he knows that he loves the feminine, but has a past history of being such a player that he feels that his relationship with the feminine, oh no, this can't be true. There true love doesn't exist. There is no fairy tale. No, no. 9:14 on the timer. That's the man's mentality, and it scares the shit out of them. And I mean, sometimes there could have been some shit in their childhood where they weren't exposed to what love means, sticking around, showing emotional support, mental support with whatever, shit like that. People being there for you and not just scrambling out the door, basically. Oh, excuse me. Okay. Yeah, and then also with the extreme fear of being in a true loving relationship, and they, leave during that time, this it two things happen. Two things happen here. Number one, the masculine will usually go back to their old bachelor ways, whether it was any type of bad habits, drinking, drugs, hanging around a certain crowd that just, what's fun? I don't have to worry about being 11, 11 on the timer, twin flame number. I don't have to worry about, being so serious and I can still party and shit. But then on the other hand, in, the deep part of their mind, their deep, conscious part of their mind, it's a time to figure out who the hell they are, really, really and truly, and how to become a better version of yourself. And that includes self love. And that's what the masculine has a big problem with in the beginning. It's self love. So, speaking of the Hindu ideologies, they've always believed in the two deities called Shakti. See, here's the thing you have, I've also heard of this Shekinah 1221 on the timer when I said that. And then you have also the set on that thing here, okay? It's still the divine feminine oracle. But anyways, going back to um the Hindu ideologies, the two deities here is Shakti, this goddess, okay? And then you have Shiva. Shakti and Shiva, the two deities. I'll say that again. Shakti and Shiva. When it comes to Shakti, she's the mother goddess and the creator of all the things. She represents the following: motherhood, creation, creativity, nurturing, and nature, etc. However, Shiva is partner in crime, but is the complete opposite of what Shakti is. He's the mighty destroyer of all evil, who does a special dance to get rid of anything that's maniacal in nature. But here's the weird shit about him. He's considered the king of darkness and the father protector at the same time. Not to mention, he's got no power whatsoever unless he is with his feminine. According to Hindu beliefs, Shiva is nothing and completely powerless without his feminine Shakti. Wow. Because without her, Shiva is powerless, but when they're together, they create such a beautiful and infinite balance to the universe. With that being said, they're both shown as two sides of one body. Okay? One body, one face. Like, think of, okay, just think of one body and the head. One side of the face, you would have Shakti, and the other side would be Shiva. So one body, complete one body. Okay, and then the front of the face, Shakti, and then the back of the head would be Shiva. I hope I just made sense there. But I thought this was fucking bullshit. So these two deities in Hindu religion, these two deities are considered the original twin flames. 1555 on the timer. They're considered the original twin flames. And even though this is based on folklore, it's a lesson that portrays the beautiful and wonderful power that is a byproduct of the feminine and the masculine united in harmony. But in the spiritual realm, the relationship between twin flames is a love so rare and shared on a deep soul level. I mean, it's a type of love that most people don't get to experience. Like I said before in my other recordings, it really is like the movie called The Notebook. Noah, these two, this pair, they come from two different sides of the tracks. You know, he's really poor, not as educated as the chick is. She comes from, money and whatnot, but neither of them give a shit. They opposites attract like that. It was the yin to the yang. And remember, I mean, their love was so rare. It was beautiful. And it's based on a true story, actually. And and at the end of the movie, it like they literally took their last breaths together. Telling you this, and it was based on a true story. But anyways, y'all get what I mean. Love is very hard to find these days, and it's a shame. And I think that happened when the whole fuck buddy phase came around. I'll be honest. I'm being honest. 1818 on the timer. I really do. When the whole fuck buddy phase came around, I think people forgot what love was or love is. And okay. However, when it comes to the masculine's inner demons, many divine feminines have noticed that the masculines have fallen down in life, such as betrayal, cheating, and abandonment issues, etc., and have a harder time picking themselves up again. And as the years go by, they continue to experience more life difficulties, which could make them lose their sense of identity and self love to the point where they're engaging in risky behaviors, alcohol abuse, drug abuse, domestic abuse, sexual abuse, sex addiction, mental disorders, self loathing, body dysmorphia, uncontrolled violence, disregard for knowledge, disregard for sustained and meaningful relationships, lack of self respect, and avoiding their responsibilities as fathers and husbands, etc. Well, at this point, you're probably thinking to yourselves, when is she going to talk about the good shit about us divine masculines? Worry not, worry not, my masculines. About to explain how wonderful how wonderful you guys are, okay? Especially after you finish going through the spiritual awakening, and despite the negative attributes, the masculines, if they could just see that they're not horrible people and actually take the time to do some self reflection, they'll be able to realize that they're human beings with beautiful souls that have to dig deep within themselves to find their inner Shiva. This phase, they'll see the light and know that they're the ones who are in charge of their lives. And more importantly, they're the ones who hold the keys to open the door that leads to unconditional love, spiritual ascension, strong family and friendship bonds, pride and knowledge, etc. However, when it comes to pride, 2112, as I'm saying this, when it comes to pride, a lot of y'all masculines, wow, 2121 on the timer. This is really important. Unfortunately, the masculines in this twin flame journey, they have had a hard time, swallowing their pride and letting their ego go. They're being very stubborn about their pride and their ego, which isn't serving them any well. Like, and it's just, shit is taking more time, but hmm, it's just like there's a fine line between being, confident and cocky, all right? Be confident, but when you have your pride, I mean, there's a time and a place. And if for situations like this, especially, swallow your pride. Get over it. It doesn't make you any less of a man. Okay? If anything, it makes you more attractive. It really does. Like, much more attractive. And let the ego go. Don't act like Gaston from Beauty and the Beast, that cartoon movie. Okay, full of pride and ego. Ugh. Ugh. Anyways, the fuck else? Okay, so in addition to this, we all know that not every divine masculine is like this, but this generation of the collective is the worst, unfortunately. That's based on Hindu beliefs and the way the generations have gone, based off of their tradition and beliefs off of love and marriage. This generation of the collective is bad. And I agree. I agree. Because, like I said earlier, I believe that this generation has a skewed and fucked up view of what relationships are supposed to be like because of fuck buddies and then, one night stands and then you have baby mamas and baby daddies and fuck that shit. Yeah. So yes, believe it or not, but these divine masculines don't view themselves as worthy individuals in the beginning. In fact, when they look at themselves in the mirror, they see a person who's weak and doesn't deserve to have someone special in their life, especially when it comes to having a twin flame connection. During this phase of the twin flame journey, he usually says and does many hurtful things to the feminine, such as leaves her without an explanation, doesn't communicate about what he's thinking, especially if it has to do with breaking off the relationship, or he doesn't know how to express his feelings, whether it be love or frustration, etc., making her feel pain and heartache. Regardless, the twin flame journey is not for the weak at heart, because eventually, as the masculine truly accepts himself, when he truly accepts himself for who he is and has an open heart, he can finally go home to his Shakti. Finally, here's advice for the divine masculine while enduring such turbulence. Work on finding balance within yourself. Okay? And then work on coming into union with your divine feminine. I'm going to repeat these two because you guys only have two. Number one, work on finding balance within yourself. And number two, work on coming into union with your divine feminine. And you know, the funny shit, I'm not playing around when I say this. Okay, last Sunday, September 14th, that was the 3rd-year anniversary of my father's death combined with his birthday. Do you know how fucking weird that is? Well, for some reason, I don't know why, it's just my intuition kicking in. I kept seeing in my mind September 21st. September 21st, that number would not leave my mind. Well, I looked up, full moons and new moons for this month. The new moon is on September 21st, and it's a huge highlight for love and marriages and engagements, you name it. You name it. I was shocked, and look what it just said, 28:38 on the timer. Wow. So, guys, if you have been waiting for the perfect time or the perfect thing to say, enough. Yasaka, just do it. Shit. Just do it. Like Nikki. Okay, now here's the advice for the feminines while riding the roller coaster. Our advice is love your divine masculine and hold space for him, whether he is suffering or not. Even if you must love him from a distance during the runner chaser cycles, or if he's really struggling to find inner happiness, remember you have a telepathic link to him. So use it to your advantage and send him loads of love. Display the meaning of commitment and putting effort into the things you love. Be strong and confident in your own power and identity. even when the divine masculine is rude, disrespectful, or hurtful. This part is really hard because he may think that he can treat you however he wants to, but his instincts tell him that that's wrong and needs to get his shit together because you don't deserve that. And you need to make sure that you stand your ground and that you're not a doormat and that you draw your boundaries. Seriously, y'all. And that you're not going to tolerate that crap. You love them. You'll always be there for them and shit. Okay? And you show them, display what love and commitment is and what it means to put in effort. Okay? And, you don't just run away when shit hits the fan, or when there's a problem, because that's not how it works. As they say, with marriages and shit, you're gonna put up with the good, the bad, and the fucking ugly. I'll say that again. The good, the bad, and the fucking ugly. And with this whole journey, 31:41 on the timer. With this whole twin flame journey, it's been all three: the good, the bad, and the ugly. By the way, if the masculine has ever told you that, oh, they don't love you, they've moved on, blah, 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 bullshit, bull fucking shit. It's so far from the truth. Because once again, pride and ego. Okay, next thing here. Teach your kids what it means to embody the highest version of themselves and to maintain their level of self love and self respect, and make them understand what unconditional love is, along with compassion, knowledge, and service to humanity. Show yourself tons of self love and compassion. And that means, eating right, putting your feet up on the couch after work. Do that face mask you've been saving. Ladies, the black charcoal masks are the best, and the green tea masks are the best too. Mm-hmm. And Neutrogena and Aveeno, and what is it? Nivea or some shit? 3344 on the timer. Yeah, Aveeno is a great brand. So is Neutrogena, and like I said, I think it was Nivea or some shit. Anyway, so I mean, if you used to do yoga, get back into it, right? So you meditate and get yourself grounded and centered again, and treat yourself well on all levels, within and without. Listen and show empathy to the divine masculine, because honestly, half the problems of the masculine collective, it's from childhood and adolescent trauma. I know I've mentioned so many times that the karmic masculine has childhood trauma and problems, but he absolutely refuses to face it. The divine masculine, he knows that he needs to face it even though it's painful, it's uncomfortable as shit. But you gotta analyze it so you can understand why you are the way that you are and how your behavior reflects on how you treat others. So, yeah, traumas in their life as well as traumas perpetuated through generations. This doesn't mean you have to give direct advice if they start spilling their heart and guts out, but just try to see where they're coming from and be empathetic to their unique individual struggles. Hmm. And encourage them, that they can overcome this. You ain't gotta be Superman. It's one day at a time, but you can conquer it. And be the feminine you were born to be, whether it's by having the patience of a saint, using creativity as an outlet, good. Hmm. Taking care of your own health, and making time for self care, just like the beautiful goddess you are, honey. Um, Praying or meditate for both you and your masculine. And finally, keep kicking ass at whatever you do and do your shit right. Y'all got this. Love you. Divine masculines, you got your attention. Cornel.